Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Crownsmen Show. I'm your host, Jerrod Downey. Roy, please don't laugh during my intro. Thank you. I'd like to introduce Roy Slack. Roy's a couple beer in already, so he's feeling good, as you can see. He's chuckling, laughing, chucking and jiving. That's what my daddy used to say. And then we got Rory Bamford. Rory is a very successful business owner of Crownsmen. Rory, thank you for all you've done for me and my family. And I just wanted to use this platform to say that to you personally. So thank you. Welcome to the show. This is a very sensitive show. I'm also a couple beer in, so I get pretty sensitive. You know that.
You're welcome. Why did you start drinking beer so early?
I always start drinking beer.
Oh, right.
Let's not get into my personal life, but okay. Well, gentlemen, we're going to talk some heavy industry. Rory, if I remember right, you went third last time. Oh, but before we do that, we've partnered up with Cranky Old Men Drinking Beer, Cha-ching. We make money every time we say the name Cranky Old Men Drinking Beer.
Ching.
And so it's
you
great.
Make money if I say it?
We do get money if you say it, Roy, so
yes.
Please feel free. Anytime you need, anytime you want. We review beer. We're going to crack a beer, drink during the show, which is always gets us a little more insightful. And then Roy will give us a review at the end as part of our contract, which you will find out about later on as negotiations wrap up for that. Roy, over to you. What are we drinking today?
Well, what we're sampling, this is a beer from North Vancouver. So even though it's a Spanish beer from La Cerveceria Astilleros.
We got to check with Gally. This might be cultural appropriation.
Well, you're half Chilean, aren't you?
I am, yes.
How do you say it?
Well, I need to see the can. Did you guys get me a non-alcohol version, or?
Josh, these are like, what do you call them? These are not microbreweries, but what craft beers. Josh,
beer.
They don't make an alcohol.
Okay, so you didn't get one from me.
You can have. There's one over here,
and I can just have it.
Yeah, you can have it. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I'll come over.
And then you can say it to us properly.
Is Josh of age?
Oh yeah, that's. I think there were six. It's like $6. No, that'll work. Yeah, I'll take the change. No, I need the parking stuff too, so that'll be fine. Yeah, thank you.
So this is a beer. It's a Mexican-style lager with lime.
Thank you. No, read it over there though. Yeah.
And kosher salt.
Unbelievable.
Okay, Josh.
Okay. Yeah, it looks like.
Seriously, I'm reading the label.
La Cerveceria.
Mexican limes and kosher salt.
Astilleros?
Oh, kosher salt, Josh.
Yeah.
Touches all the checkpoints for you.
Yeah, for the Jewish side.
What
Cerveceria
is
Astilleros.
kosher salt? What is non-kosher salt?
Well, technically, what kosher salt?
Cerveceria.
It's called marketing.
It's blessed by a rabbi. Kosher salt is what
So
makes
a rabbi goes to the salt mine and is like,
Yeah, he just goes over and he blesses it. But it's also
hilarious.
just a more coarse salt.
oh, okay.
So
there's
it's good for cooking.
I see. Okay.
And the name El Valle Salado, that's a famous salt flats in Spain. So I don't know if they got the salt from there, but that's what the name is in reference to. So
Cool.
So,
We learn something new every day.
And this brewery does Spanish or Mexican themed beers. They call this a Mexican lager, although typically Mexican lagers are corn based, and this is barley. But so expect some lime. There's no doubt about it.
When did you start getting so interested in beer, Roy? Was it during a successful time of the company or a very unsuccessful time, a time of struggle? Or neither?
I think, I don't know if you can see it behind me. There's a cementation 20th anniversary beer that we brewed with a local brewery. I've just always, enjoyed a cold beer. And I don't know, probably 5 or 6 years ago, started to try some different things. And there's so many different things out there. I just have a lot of fun trying new beer, and some are great, some are good, some are
not so much,
not so good. But it's all part of the what makes it interesting.
I tried to be cool and do it with Scotch, and then I realized you go really broke really fast trying to do it with Scotch. You got to you got to be at a certain level to be like, oh, I'm just going to sample this bottle.
Yeah, we're not quite turning into the Elon Musk territory.
Rory does not sound like he's on a proper headset.
Oh, did we lose you again? One sec.
Let's talk about our Heavy Industry World Tour brought to you by Savona Equipment. Find, market, and sell surplus and used equipment. We are heading to events across North America and Australia and filming episodes on location. Email us at info@crownsmen.com to be part of Crownsmen's Heavy Industry World Tour. In the demanding world of mining, safety and performance are paramount. Sophie is a comprehensive solution built for the unique needs of the mining industry. From the ground up, their technology helps everyone who works in, manages, and leads mining operations to create high-performance work environments and ensure they come home safely every day. Create the workplace everyone wants to be a part of. Choose Sophie. Visit sophie.com to learn more. Effortless Corporate Traveler Management is here with Corporate Traveler Canada. Boost your business with trusted expert solutions that save time, money, and enhance the traveler experience. Trusted by thousands of companies worldwide. Book and track your travels on your phone or let your dedicated consultant handle it for you. Enjoy 24/7 support and live chat from any time zone and get real-time travel alerts anywhere you go. Your next business trip just got easier. Learn more about Corporate Traveler Canada at corporatetraveler.ca. Attention builders, we've got everything you need to know about the grit and grind of the construction world in one show. The Construction Show is where you can share your expert techniques and strategies to help keep the crew strong and construction sites secure. From foundational tips, industry trends, safety strategies to advanced equipment and machinery. Be part of the voice of construction. Book your episode and showcase your company to millions worldwide. Visit crownsmen.com.
Okay, we had a little bit of technical issue with Rory's mic there, but we got that all sorted. Rory, you, if memory serves me right, went third last time, so you're first this time. What topic are you bringing insight to our audience to today?
So much insight. I'm hoping to get a guest on from them at some point, so this is going to be my intro to try and bring them in. Yeah, exactly. Wow. 2 sips of beer, I'm already gone. The Cedar LNG project has been approved, and it will be a new floating LNG facility in Kitimat. So It's within the traditional territory of the Haisla Nation. I probably said that wrong. It's basically positioned again, so it's going to be another port so that we can start shipping out more LNG. So this one, obviously, with it being in partnership with the nation there, it's going to bring in a lot of development. I've been reading on a few articles about it over the past few weeks since it was approved. So it's a pretty good sign that hopefully there's going to be more LNG coming online. And yeah, basically the advantage of it is very strategic for getting it over to the Asian markets. I'm just trying to look, actually, because I was pulling it up. I'm trying to see how many jobs they're saying are going to be
Did they
as part of the
indicate the
spin-off.
project value, Rory? Because I know that, from what I know of the LNG industry, these are huge projects.
Yeah, let me just.
Multi-billion-dollar projects.
They're saying it's going to be over 5.5 billion for this one. So they announced the final business decision of it. And yeah, just for more, the Haisla First Nation owns 50.1% of the project. And let's see, Pembina Pipeline Corporation also, they have 49.9%. So which is very good. So they've got a massive player with Pembina who has the expertise, but then they're obviously going to be taking part of that project. It's going to have spin-off jobs. And like we talked on the last episode, actually, Roy, it sounds like it's going to make a lot of sense for the local communities there with that spinoff. So I'm sure that was a huge part of the process with it as well. And hopefully we can get somebody on from, either Pembina or Haisla or both potentially on a future episode too.
Is it on Haisla land? You happen to know that? It's just that ownership thing sounds, there's some ownership rules if you're on Indigenous land, or is that just the agreement? I wonder.
Yeah, let me just. I was just looking
Typically,
at the
Jerrod,
map.
if there's an impact benefit agreement, there
Oh.
are certain conditions that the owner will have to make, and it may not be the ownership of the actual facility. It may be the company that's building it, or it could be the ownership. You never know, but yeah, it'll be because LNG. So this is a port, and is it an offshore facility too?
Yeah, it is. So this one's going to be a floating. What do they call it? Actually, I'm going to double check the terminology. So they say it's an innovative floating design that reduces overall environmental footprint when compared to other LNG facilities as well.
Wow, this is going to be a crazy. We got to get someone from there on. It's going to be amazing.
I've been doing some looking through, and just the fact that it's 5.5 billion. I want to see actually how many. So Kitimat has other facilities. How much?
So this isn't. This is not new to Kitimat then. The industry.
Oh, Kitimat has Rio Tinto is there, aren't they? With their
exactly.
So it's Alcan or both.
I'm saying yes, I know, but I'm just double checking here. I want to bring up how many terminals are there right now. There's LNG Canada, and then there's the Rio Tinto as well. They've got their facility there too.
So this is fully approved though. This is getting built.
It is now. Yeah, it is.
Yeah, I wonder how long they took. So many questions. I wonder how long they took.
It's been 10 years that they've been doing these studies on it. So it's been in the works for a long time. Since I was just seeing that as well. It says since I lost that page, but I'll find it.
Is that Rory? I'm curious. These guys that build, I mean, you would know some of them that have built these mines or these oil rigs and 10 years. That's a long time from start. Or is it do these projects just change hands several times? So it's people kind of work on them 3 to 4 years at a time. Is that how it's done? Because 10 years seems so long.
The 10-year process, the negotiations with government and with First Nations are part of that. But there's a huge amount of engineering that goes into it to design a plant like that through concept, pre-feasibility, feasibility, and then detailed design. Mm-hmm. So there's all this work that goes on the background in the background before approval, and then once approval happens, then you go into implementation or you go into project construction, which then you start procurement and you start actually hiring contractors to build. So it's long term. The approvals are part of it, but there's a lot of things that go on before it too.
I guess really simplified question is what makes it worth it for them to spend that many years for something that might not get approved? How do they sort of keep it even shareholder support?
There's a term we use, and it might confuse the issue here, but we talk about a project pipeline. So what that means is, and maybe the analogy is if you're investing in a GIC, you might want one that matures in 1 year, one that matures in 3, one that matures in 5. So you've got a ladder there. You want to do the same with these projects. So if you've got a project that's happening now, hopefully you're working on another project that will happen in the next 5 or 6 years.
Yeah.
So you create a pipeline of work because you can't just have all of the resources to do a project that's huge, and then when it's done, everyone goes home and waits for the next one. You've got to try and sequence them.
So how many projects would this company have, Roy? Do you happen to know that? I love how I'm just throwing these questions.
No. Are you talking about Pembina specifically?
Yeah.
So Pembina, let's find out. I wanted to actually point out as well because I was doing some more digging on the fly. So it's interesting because, in Samsung Heavy Industries in Black and Veatch will be designing the floating vessel for this facility, and I also found out they'll be supplied the natural gas from the Coastal GasLink pipeline, which it was in the news for good and bad reasons, I think, over the last several years. But I believe that one I have to check. I have to fact check myself to see if that one is completed now. So all this LNG is coming into the port there. So this makes sense that they're putting this into place. But I'm gonna do some looking to see what Pembina has in the pipeline for development.
So does this almost become? Is this almost like? Sorry, I just don't know much about this sector. Is this almost become like these? This facility would almost become like a tributary to the main line that's coming into the port. Is that sort of how it works?
It's going to be one of them, yeah. So it's going to be basically a floating ship in a sense that brings on all this liquefied LNG, which then gets loaded into the ships coming in to ship it across to the Asian
there's
markets.
Multiple companies supplying that, providing that. So similar to what you'll see in the oil fields and that.
Exactly, yeah, exactly. So like all these companies out of Alberta, right? Like the Trans-Canada the twinning. That one, now those companies are able to buy that space to ship more of their product.
Oh, I see.
So one aspect of the project is negotiating the feed. Like you're not going to build that unless you've got suppliers that can use your facility.
Exactly.
You don't. It's not build it and they'll come. You're not going to spend $5.5 billion. So part of the process is securing feed and the whole distribution.
So these are smaller players that will feed into that, or not even smaller players. Wow, look at me.
Big players.
Big players, yeah.
Huge, yeah.
But they're going to be feeding into this one system, though, basically.
It will be one of the systems they feed into.
One of the systems. So because there's other terminals there already.
Right.
So it's basically increasing how much LNG. And from what I know, like Canada's LNG supply is like right out of it. Like how much? Like I think we've got one of the biggest reserves for LNG in the world.
Rory, could you look up, confirm that just before the end of the episode? And Rory, let's jump over to you. What are you looking at today?
I had listed, so this is a bit of a different track, but in one of our board meetings recently, we had someone do a presentation on artificial intelligence. And there's so much potential there. So I'm talking about something I don't understand, first of all.
Oh, good.
But that's part of the point. Is there's huge potential in any industry for application of AI. And we used to call it expert systems. There are different names for it. It's developed over time. And we're just beginning to kind of scratch the surface of what it can do for us. And it's a really interesting topic because it gets into that area of the first question is, well, are we going to lose jobs? Are robots going to do the work for us? And the approach people are taking isn't that at all.
No.
It's about understanding processes. It's about, we've got so much data now. That was the first step. Huge amounts of data from digitization. So how do we make the best use of that data? So there seems to be a natural progression here, but I find it interesting when I talk to schools, I say that my generation, doesn't grasp the concept. So we're counting on new people coming into the industry that can look at applications for this technology that can make our work safer or make our work more productive or make less impact on the environment. So it's really, the analogy is you're not building a smartphone, but you're looking at apps that can make it do more for you.
There's, just looking up. Oh, man. Josh, there's these new, AI producers.
No.
No, I heard they don't work well.
No, they're good.
No.
AI development company. Oh, man, this is crazy.
I don't think we should even bother with that stuff.
I imagine they probably
25% off the promo,
either.
Josh.
Well, I'm already working for free, so I don't really see what the issue is there.
Well, I was actually thinking about changing that, but yeah.
I guess, okay, well.
Wow. Rory, what do you think? Okay, you brought up the generational gap. I didn't. Rory doesn't. Rory's actually, you've been very good about that, Rory, because you got into some trouble with some comments about Rory's age, but Roy, what do you?
I just think about it all the time. I'm trying to only save it for special occasions.
Right. Yes. I don't know what that means. That's weird.
It's a defensive mechanism with Rory. That's why I'm careful, not to poke the bear, so to speak.
Yeah. Well, people get older. That's part of life. Anyway,
and then Roy makes comments on my weight gain. I can't help it.
Oh, I don't even want to talk. The last episode, I leaned back and I rested and I went, I didn't used to be able to do that. I need to walk. There's a little lip where I could rest the edge of the palm of my hands. It's a new thing. It's pretty cool.
It's a beer holder.
It's a beer. Yeah.
But are you happy?
No, that doesn't make me happy at all, Roy.
I don't mean happy about it. I mean just in general.
No, I'm not. That's why I'm getting this.
Oh, okay. I see. Stress related.
Yeah, stress related. Roy, what do you in your circles? Not you know what I mean. You know what I'm getting at. Don't make me say it. What is sort of the general vibe that you get from the AI monster that is coming and replacing Josh?
Yeah. Well, that's the example I gave. If you talk to the board about it, and typically the people on a board are experienced. Mm-hmm. That's what we say, Rory. Are experienced.
Oh, that's a nice way of saying it, Rory. Yeah.
But it's not something that we worked with a lot, but we hear about it. And I'll tell you a little story, and this was years ago. I was with the company, and I was on the executive, and I got called into the meeting. The president called us in and said, have you heard about this new thing called email? It's a really neat technology. And I leaned over to the guy beside me, and I said, we've been using this for a year. And the guy beside me said, yeah. So, sometimes younger people have dove into it before older people even clue in that it's there.
That's actually pretty funny.
So, but anyway, so that's where we're at today. Is many of us know it's there, believe it can be beneficial, but have no idea of how we would implement it within our companies.
I've said this. I've brought this up many times in the show, though. But when we talk about the age gap, in all seriousness, I feel, though, I think people of other generations have seen so much dramatic change that I don't know if this is as dramatic for them as almost sometimes for the younger generation, because now it's like they're just coming into the workforce and all this. People have spent money on, there's AI programs now that are coding websites. Like, you don't need a coder. And then young people have put a lot of time and effort into getting ready for that market. And that market won't be there in the same way. I almost think this is more of a younger generation has effect than, someone at the executive level or, engineer or something like that. They're not going anywhere. I think it's some of the younger stuff.
Yeah, I've got apps now that can write beer reviews for me.
Yeah.
Right? So you put in.
That's why they got so good.
Right. Rory. We said we weren't going to bring that up.
Oh, no, I was just saying how good the recent ones are.
Yeah. No, they're good. They're better, but we were not going to say it.
Oh, right. That was that. I was thinking something else.
That was that conversation. Yeah.
Yeah,
no, the other thing we can bring up.
The best part of the website are the editor's comments myself.
I do think people misunderstand that AI is basically, in a lot of cases, it is just taking what knowledge base is already there and it's basically organizing it and redistributing it. In a lot of ways, it's what it's doing. I think with any technology, it's like it was unimaginable to go from a cart and a horse to a Tesla driving down the road with no driver at 100 kilometers an hour. That was you couldn't even wrap your mind around it in the 20s. It'd just be a ridiculous thought. And now that's just, you just see that. So I do think I I don't know of yet a technology that's come out that's taken away people's jobs. Am I wrong in that? I feel like I probably am wrong in that.
It usually adds jobs. Like what they say is usually the new technology. It creates the job. Like obviously, like the car manufacturing was leaving Detroit at some point, but now with all the electrical car manufacturing, now you've got it coming back to the U.S. And then you've got the AI stuff. Now you've got people that have to learn how to manage that properly too.
Yeah.
The era of technology removing jobs was what we call mechanization, right? So going from people with shovels to a scoop.
Mm-hmm.
So all of a sudden you've got one machine and one operator that can do the work of 20 people.
Right.
We went through that phase, which made things safer, more productive. And yeah, if there were 20 people on drills, and now we've got a jumbo doing the drilling. So it did change the workforce model.
Yeah. Yeah, it changes the model. That's right. Yeah.
But the things that are happening now aren't nearly as dramatic when it comes to the workforce. But when it comes to information, I believe they are. But we can't perceive the impact yet.
Yeah.
So if you can't really see it, some people assume the worst or worry about, what might happen.
Well, one thing that's funny that you saw, like with the first AI buzz, like especially when ChatGPT came out, and everyone's like, everything's going to change, nobody's going to have a job anymore, and companies started adding AI to their names to try and get the stock bounce. It's like, okay, come on. Which I've been trying to get Jerrod to change our name to Crownsmen AI.
Crownsmen AI. I love it.
He's just, okay, well, you're...
Or Jerrod AI. I might even do it with my own branding, my own personal brand, Jerrod AI. Yeah.
Put it on your LinkedIn.
Yeah.
Add in a whole bunch of other stuff.
That'll be my pronouns. Okay, no, I'm not going there. What was I going to ask? Oh, Peter Thiel, Rory, had a great point when he was saying, like, it is what you just said about Rory, like all this information has changed, but the actual... Oh, he said it so much better. He was on Rogan. You should find that the Peter Thiel on Rogan is a great interview, and he talks about people are on their phone looking at all this crazy images and data and apps, but they're still riding on a subway that's 100 years old in New York. It actually hasn't changed very much. The infrastructure, I thought, of course, the entrepreneur side of me thought, there's an opportunity somewhere there, because the world has like doubled, tripled, quadrupled. So I don't know what the next one is down. They've just piled in to all this technology side. But there's this whole physical world out there that people hardly talk about now. They hardly even discuss it. It's crazy. And we're still sitting. They're all on their phones. And you can't help but think, who's going to come up with, like Elon Musk, a better train? Who's going to come up with the electric, like the car that's better than any other electric car? And look at the success. He's putting rockets. We think of it as technology, but he's doing physical things with the technology. I'm not smart enough to do any of that, so unfortunately I won't get to capitalize on it. But it's still just an interesting way of looking at it.
Yeah, and, the other side of the coin, and one of the reasons I've enjoyed a career in contracting is because we've actually built something physical.
Yeah.
And there's the financial sector, and I remember one person saying, the financial sector is the oil that greases the gears of the engine. They had some fancy analogy there, but But over the years, I realized how important it was, because things didn't happen without that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When all is said and done, you're actually building something, so when we sunk the shafts at Nickel Rim and built the head frames, you walk away from that, or you fly into Sudbury Airport and you fly over this plant that you and your team have actually built.
Mm-hmm.
There's that whole physical presence there that you hope is the end goal of all this. Whether it's building infrastructure or improving the quality of life.
Yeah. Yeah.
Isn't that weird, Jerrod? Like we're not building. We don't have any physical products, but we got Josh, I guess. But the
somehow that was meaner than anything I've
I a
said
product
the whole
man?
time.
But then but what's interesting
See, Josh,
is we
now
get
I
to
don't look
cover,
that bad.
Well, I wouldn't say that, but yeah,
would.
it's a double pylon.
Did you just
But
call me a pylon?
we get to cover all these projects like Roy having you on the show talking about like what cementation is built and all that. That's what's kind of cool is that. But again, that's weird because a lot of people, they're on their phone, they're on their computers. Like Peter Thiel said, also a great book by him is 0 to 1 on like how you do learn how to make basically that product that is, it's new. It's new. Nobody else has done it. And it's.
We should read that. We should all read that book. And I don't know if I haven't read it yet, Roy. I don't know if you have. We should all read that book and do a couple episodes on it. That'd be very interesting, just to cover some of what's in that book, especially after watching his interview. I'm
kind of cheap, so if it's in the library, I'll read it.
Should be. It should be.
Yeah, we'll find a copy.
We'll
Hey, let's go into just. I know that. Oh, Rory, are you wrapped up on time? It's. I think it's your time. You got to step out, or do you have a couple more minutes, or do you need to go?
Yeah, no, a couple more minutes.
Okay.
Yeah, and we've got a beer to review too. So.
Okay. Let's do. Important. Should we do?
Jerrod, I just wanted to let you know that in Canada for like.
Oh yeah.
Going back to the LNG. So as of 2022, and I found a reputable website for this. It was like LNG.com or something, and it was Canada's estimated to have 1.368 trillion cubic feet of natural gas resources, an amount equal to over 200 years of current annual demand. Now, I think that means for Canada itself, but
okay.
Not the world.
Sorry, and where is that ranked globally?
It's actually apparently we're only like 18th.
Oh wow.
For reserves.
So there's lots of it.
There's a lot way above. Middle East, of course, has they're booming.
Oodles. Oodles of it.
So much of it.
Okay, quickly, I just want to do a quick, we'll be very quick on this topic, is management. Rory, tell the folks at home, Norm MacDonald, tell the folks at home what you've learned about management in the last couple of weeks, which you already knew, but you got away from, then you went back to it.
Well, Jerrod was just kind of like, he was ragging on me about like how I was sucking. So I was like, I don't know, like, why am I sucking so much? And so then he's like, well, you didn't do this in like a previous role you had. You like would delegate. I'm like, oh yeah, I did.
Okay, well, Rory, let me tell you what actually happened. I would phone Rory. I would phone Rory and say, hey, do you know who does this? He'd be like, well, no, I do that. Or I'd be like, hey, do you know how to go? He'd be like, yeah, no, I can log in and look. And I'm like, what are you doing? You have 10 questions. You know 10 of them. So there's something off here. And so, Rory, it's been quite dramatic, actually, the shift we made, and quite seeing the team just like, boom.
Yeah, firing much more, firing on all cylinders a lot more, and now just having like report meetings. And if we need to do like a meetings for like development, we can just do those separately. But like Mondays we do reporting, and it's good because then when I'm away or Jerrod's away, we are going to get filled in on what's going on.
Yeah.
So that it's not getting everybody's in the loop, but it's way less time.
And they're providing, for context, they're providing like a full, basically, report every week, which takes time for them to put together.
Yes.
But we are not in every little detail of their day-to-day, but at the beginning of the week, we know what has happened last week, what is happening this week, and what needs to be clarified. And where I first sort of really learned about it, and this is not a revolutionary strategy or anything, lots of people do it, but I know somebody that worked directly with the CEO of, I won't even actually say the name of the company, I probably shouldn't, but basically one of the major car manufacturers out of Japan. And the CEO would come.
You really narrowed it down there. So
exactly, yeah.
Three.
But I didn't actually say it. So they would come, and their vehicles hold the longest value out of
And it's not one that starts with a. Okay, continue, Jerrod.
And they would come. He would basically do a meeting, and he would hardly talk. He'd provide full reports. He'd go, "Thank you very much," and he'd move on to the next meeting. And now this was one country he was doing the meeting for, right? So this is someone who has the globe to oversee. Mm-hmm. But that's how he was doing it. Just he'd go from meeting to meeting, basically all week was his, and he would just get these reports provided, and he would have a full pulse of what was happening. And he'd hardly talk, which is obviously this is what we do for a living. It's not in my nature, but it's pretty powerful. Rory, what do you think of that? Just sort of that strategy. Again, just kind of keeping with just tight for time. That strategy of basically your team leadership provides reports. You get up to date on it, and that's what you use to make your executive decisions, just in taking the data.
Well, the hidden agenda there, okay, is that you want your managers to know what's going on. So
Absolutely.
if they've got to report to you, yeah, that's nice. You get the information. I mean, you still want your people to run, unless there's a big red flag that comes up, you're not going to step in. But when a couple things happen when groups have to report to you, one is they've got to assemble the information.
Yeah.
So they learn about the detail of it. Secondly, you get different departments working together. If you structure the reporting right, you'll have operations and accounting working together to generate this report,
right,
or business development and operations, or the shop, or whatever the structure of your company is. So, whenever I think about reporting, I think about, what are all the things that it does beyond just sharing information.
Yeah.
So there's a whole bunch of things that you can do if you're set up right, in terms of improving communications between departments.
Yeah.
In terms of ensuring that your managers are aware. You may assume that they are, but
yeah, that's
the
a good
reporting
point.
will actually, I won't say force them, but make them dig into some of the details that you want to make sure they know.
And you might realize where you've not been communicating even the role clearly. You go, oh, you don't even know to pull this information. I've been waiting for this from you. Yeah.
Yeah. So there's some, I shouldn't call them hidden agendas, but, I talk
But
about
they are
this
good.
regarding
They are good
reporting,
hidden agendas.
is you want to get the most benefit out of reporting because people do a lot of work on it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you don't want the report for its own sake. There are other things at play.
Well, I noticed for me, the first time we did it, I felt a little antsy. I was like, okay, there's a lot of stuff coming at me. By the second, third week, now you're waiting for it. You're going, okay, this is the day that I get to gather all this and I have a full pulse of what's going on. It's quite cool. Gentlemen, just for time, I know we're tight for it. So, Rory, Rory, what do you think of this beer? Josh, you didn't even crack yours, so I'll need that back from you.
Oh, do I get my money back?
Yeah, we'll figure it out. So,
Okay.
Rory, what do you think of the beer?
I like this. This is
Pretty
I'm
good.
surprised this came out of Vancouver.
Rude.
It's really good. Yeah, it's really
You're
good.
surprised it came out of Vancouver because you like it? I don't think that's what you intended.
No. I mean, I wouldn't expect anything close to this out of Kamloops.
Are there any other communities that we want to slur at this point in time?
New Westminster is fantastic. Those weren't slurs. I've been in Mexico having like some delicious beers, and I'm pleasantly
Do
surprised.
they have pretty
This
good beer down in Mexico? Like the local beer?
Yeah, Corona's delicious.
Rory's drunk. Forget it. Right. I think I tried to save you. It's over. What do I like this? The hotter the day, the better this would be. That's what I would say. Yeah. If someone handed this to me like on a golf course or like after a game of golf, that it's about as good as a beer could get. I would say I would go. Yeah, I'd be pretty high. I'll buy this. I'll buy more of this. Rory, what is your expert professional
Cranky old man drinking beer.
Cha-ching. experienced review of this.
Yeah, so it a light malt, and they warned us about the lime, and yes, there is lime in it, but they did a good job with that. Some beers go overboard. I think there was lime, but it was a little bit subtle. The salt's also very subtle. You find it in the finish, and there was a little bit of carbonation in it, I thought, but not much.
Just a little dance.
I think they've done a good job with a little bit of everything, because there's a lot of beers where one of those elements will be too much.
Yeah.
So the balance is what makes this beer quite a good one.
And of course, the 4.6 for the alcohol actually is perfect for this type of beer.
And it's made in Vancouver. Who would have thought?
North Vancouver, actually.
North Vancouver. Okay, that would have. See, you should have said North Vancouver. That would have been a fair shot.
I know. I messed up. Honestly, I messed up.
See, that's different. That's different.
I know.
Roy, what do you give this as a rating?
I quite enjoyed this. I would see a 16 for the. You've always got to recognize the type of beer it is.
Right.
So taking that into account,
that's lower than I thought you were going to go higher than that.
Lager, I thought it was quite good.
What? Why? I thought 16 was a little bit lower than you were going to go. Why did you go 16? Not a little, just a little bit higher.
I'm traditional, quite cranky when it comes to my ratings. So 16 is a good rating for me.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, you're a little bit cranky. Josh, I just wanted to say thank you so much for doing the show with us. I don't know why you're looking so sullen over there, but
I feel like I got ragged on a lot as per usual, but it's good to be volunteering here.
Good
as
to have
per
you.
usual. We're short on time, so
we're very short on time. We have to.
Is Josh from North Vancouver? I forget.
I'm not from North Vancouver now.
Well, don't say it like that.
I have a lot of family there, but not from there, of course.
Oh,
that makes sense. Hey.
What was that, Roy?
I said that family in North Vancouver. You're still speaking to them.
I'm speaking to most of them, but they're not originally from North Vancouver.
Oh.
Nobody is in Vancouver. That's what I say.
No, I'm on mainland Vancouver. I spend a lot of money to be able to have that Vancouver address code.
Yeah, we all spend a lot of money to have this address code.
Well, you're in New West, so I would call it Vancouver.
It's not Vancouver.
Where's the big Vancouver cross? We talked about that before.
There's the East Van Cross. That is on Clark and 6th. And I know that because I'm actually from Vancouver.
Yeah, the East. Yeah, that's a good area of Vancouver if you want to. If you want surprises.
No, that area is fine. You got to go lower than Clark to get.
I was just there.
Well, yeah, if you're a small town boy like
this
you.
This is what happened.
Okay.
I was walking one half. So this is true. I was walking on one half out of it. It's like an elementary school. On one half, there's like people with baby strollers. It looked like Stepford Wives or something.
Yeah.
I walked a block, and there was like teenagers drinking. It was getting all sketchy. Literally 1 block difference. 1 block.
You should see what happened.
It was on the same block.
Crazy. Teenagers drinking? That's tame.
No. You don't understand. No. It wasn't. You didn't see it.
Okay.
Rory, you need to go. I know you do. Rory, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you, Josh, for being a good sport. We really appreciate. I'll put this towards a donation.
Oh, okay.
Thank you, and we will see you on the next episode of The Crownsmen Show.